election time in a more fictional land, which means hopefully it's a little more fun. With all that removed, none of it's relevant. And it can go haywire and highly destructive, and you can still go to sleep. It'll be a blast. Voice approximation of Aaron Paul, I believe.
The Breen Presidential Debates, wherein we follow Trevor Goodchild as he prepares and debates with the other three candidates in this year's Breen Presidential Elections, which turned out to be the most watched media event in Breen history. Good night all. We welcome everyone to watch and hear out our four presidential nominees in front of billions, if not countless more, in their millions upon countless millions watching around Breen. But first, before we introduce our main event, an update on those who were denied their right to voice or even listen. Yes, those whose names you shall be seeing later during tonight's debates. But for now, our beloved officials at top level have already put an end to whatever plans those may have tried or made towards anything outside their scope to understand that their views should be heard by us who rule these lands. And we stand here on this stage with you listening out loud for any hint of any whisper or muting words. But nothing escapes our attention, nothing can remain unknown with our network covering it all like our net of eyes and brains throughout. All will come under this gaze without any shadows or illusions between any single one among the crowd, and every voice spoken in front of them is broadcast and recorded simultaneously with video and still photographs to ensure there never is a loss in time from what occurred in all those seconds without any pause without. Now we present the candidates and their respective bios. You know that name by now, for one is well known internationally among humans everywhere, as well as our brethren on Mars. Mr. Pablo Freidendorf was the only Breen nationalist running as of just hours earlier, yet he was deemed too extreme by Breen News Media BA themselves, thus the only ones qualified to cover our own history and future, as well as being experts on global policies towards humans beyond Mars. We were given strict guidelines to abide by as a Bremasi representative. The public must be presented with no biases or false dichotomies. These debates are being aired on a global telecom network, as per request by Theresa V. Lansdale, our head of state and head of military. So whatever we are able to uncover from your comments, queries or questions will all be recorded simultaneously on live feed across all screens throughout your homes to your cities without leaving a single screen, without any input from our loyal and dedicated viewers. This also means that even with all audio recordings, cameras, video feedback, any data analysis equipment installed behind the scenes, and security devices set in place without any interference detected anywhere else whatsoever are monitored, reviewed, and approved as a necessary and vital step in safeguarding every single voter from manipulation attempts or other disruptions outside standard protocol. That leaves it up to our debate audience. How about a friendly bet to raise your spirits high while we do away with these petty issues? Let us see whose side wins after this event concludes tonight, and whomever holds this responsibility within the highest possible view of everyone left alive on Earth will not go unpunished either. The second candidate, an up-and-comer, our current mayor and youngest mayoral office at 35-year-old Thomas Harladutch, who has recently made significant waves internationally with our latest technology and innovations in cybernetic upgrades and human longevity through DNA modification techniques pioneered under their predecessor Jonathan van der Veenhoff. Their platform focuses on infrastructure and education reform, but the fact that they've never debated outside city government level has brought questions regarding their political inexperience, some claiming outright that any candidate would suffice given the state of things. Our third candidate, you might remember him well. The only surviving heir to the Goodchild dynasty since John died so brutally in his private island years ago. Trevor, or should he said his doctor, has finally risen to politics, where we find in true his lineage that there is little need for anyone else's ideas except their own. It comes comes as somewhat shocking as his reputation from youth was not so friendly or charming. Now, with over 1,000,000 followers at any moment with his daily video logs, it would seem we've got the next president in hand. Oh, and there's candidate 4, Butterbean. But they don't make much sound on their feet anymore unless you have an ear like mine to capture them. So who knows? They may still have a chance against these giants before our eyes and ears, not only within our country now, but perhaps around this globe. Let's see just whose platform truly resonates with people everywhere. Let me know if my words become lost among the noise out there, as that has always been my priority. For our dear citizens have been waiting months and years. We cannot take this event away now. Without further ado, welcome to our grand presidential debates with Bray and friends here to join us for the rest of its night as I welcome each candidate here before all those millions beyond. Here he slash he goes, here she slash he begins and ends, and without pause. Mr. Harlot, that first we had them practice all yesterday their words, however, remained unknown or undefined. Mr. Pablo spoke at length regarding security concerns and the current threat facing us. But they never explained what they were referring to in his rambling response after my interruption that led directly thereafter. Still, I have no desire to make the debate less accessible with such vague remarks which cannot be fully appreciated by any listeners, though they insist. Trevor then spoke with vigor about human rights and cultural sensitivity, as if either topic applies in the midst of a cybernetics upgrade revolution, which has saved many countless lives. They argued that they were the strongest human representative, while Thomas insisted that any policy regarding humans and non-species was beyond their expertise and not the purpose of their campaign. Trevor continued without responding again, instead launching into another attack on the mayor for their perceived lack of knowledge or skills outside his current scope, which led to accusations within his district being swept under various unspoken accusations. It seems neither candidate had much patience, but they would be interrupted from the beginning without further debate. This evening remains without question. Our Baniac is a forceful leader in their own regard. I cannot begin to fathom his thoughts at this stage. They may as well already have written history itself within their brain already before we arrive to question or challenge them, even the briefest moments away before they respond without waiting further. In fact, this very evening's entire event should only exist due solely the intervention on Bray here, who brought this event forth, who is not debated at present, nor shown themselves publicly, except their cryptic messages to any willing listeners out there. If there are those listening tonight at all, as Mayor Harlow made further commentary regarding infrastructure issues, which they claimed should have included more attention towards cybernetic implant research, with further development from Mr. Butterball, whose name he insisted on not addressing, for fear it might encourage those seeking alternative candidates elsewhere. This left Trevor's comment on social programs largely unanswered or refuted. It seems as though both men had already exhausted their political skills against one another in the earlier discussions behind the scenes, but lacked the courage to come clean publicly about the matter, which made them more frustrated in their interactions than before, so we saw no indication of further development within either position statement presented as of yet here tonight. Except on Thomas, who continued unfazed while his competitor began speaking off mic before pausing briefly in silence upon Benick, bringing his focus towards him for that slight comment regarding those other than him. However, Mr. Pablo remained calm in light of Mr. Goodchild's constant derision despite multiple attacks during this evening. Such verbal aggression has already taken over these conversations, and Mr. Pablo himself remains silent. But we've come across such individuals within our news reports who prefer to let others do their dirty work, while Trevor spoke to Blade directly and directly. Please help yourself to your right and make an argument, since I am already too far gone now, as it should be. Butterbean stuns all in the audience and some on the podiums with a few photographs that of Trevor Goodchild trying to woo an alien songbird songstress, whist wearing a vast technicolor array of plumage, made particularly for interspecies mating. Trevor retorted that their romantic escapades, which they did reveal to the alien lady in the photograph, were a private act that should only come on their personal record of conduct towards the entire human, in this case Martian community, and never brought public knowledge here during this live event. That they'd been framed by rivals. They denied accusations of corruption or collusion at length, saying that while some might view human interests as secondary in certain situations, they could certainly not speak for a human interest when it concerned another. That it was clear they would have more questions from now until whenever or never. So much controversy surrounds him, even while we try for something different, that it seems we may need something greater than this man alone to save whatever wastes remain within himself from drowning altogether. Mr. Trevin did apologize again to Mayor Tommy for insulting their ability without context. The young leader did seem confused. Bray's reply came shortly thereafter, stating their interest not solely in humans per se, that even though most humans remained distant beyond Earth, the Martians were largely content to observe from above the Earth atmosphere as a parting glance of all that had gone before. Here Breather did maintain their interests, though limited, were rooted purely in promoting a common sense or balance to what remained of those humans who sought after it for themselves, and everyone without regard whatsoever for any individual species beyond their self-serving ends of gain. Trevor stated clearly that humans should be considered above all else, before adding without apology again, not even mentioning himself. Mr. Harladum also took exception to this statement, insinuated by Mayor Thomas an ability to understand it himself. Yet no argument has ever truly emerged here, and there has never been one against Butterbean's involvement at best. Bainick interrupted again and again before asking about infrastructure programs. This was not his debate subject. Then the mayor did answer briefly, stating again without prompting it wasn't as necessary, according to their own logic, yet somehow managed it anyway. At times their speeches seemed more passionate at times during that section, before ending without another exchange between Mr. Goodman's and Mrs. Ponnetley's views. Just then, a group of insurgents rappelled down the studio ceiling with banners. Tell them about Mars. And is there actually a Mars? Spoilers! No! It appears Trevor may not even truly support Mars itself. The aliens respond accordingly. So sorry, Trevor, good child. They cheer up through Bray's loudspeakers, though we don't catch any further sound without context. The entire incident left Butterbeamer shocked at Trevor's betrayal of both human tenants' future and his own, and no further action taken beyond removing Bremix off the scene due to its own embarrassment of the situation. But that should be enough to say about it. There may have been nothing truly said, or not said, which mattered, as the stage lights flickered on again as if some kind of message had never gone out in the process. We are ready. Please begin again. Now here is Butterboot, the newcomer to debate events such as this one, with a few brief words against humanity's potential, which Mr. Goodchurch took personal offense, while Trevor went into a diatribe against Mr. Haldito's alleged lack of focus due to his previous statement being unintelligible. Butterbean. My name is Butterbean. Butterbean unveiled his trench coat, revealing a suit of explosives. All hell begins to break loose. Trevor made no remark, but was left standing at the center podium with a shocked and terrified audience at large. But Bly made no sound beyond their words, which may even echo for years beyond where the camera is able to film in real time without interference, even without any known language known beyond the moment they must not be of planet Earth. Trevor took further action then, by pulling a gun out towards them both as he aimed first to get off before them. Mayor Tommy stepped towards him in disbelief yet without fear, with Bank watching calmly from beside as he stared off behind Breton backstage. This event has ended so abruptly before our very eyes could truly blink that it's hard to tell where either debate truly lay anymore, save that perhaps this was merely the precursor in some long and epic tale unfolding across time like some forgotten play script waiting the stage, where the hero or heroes have failed at their quest. It's time. Then we must make another day ahead of ours. Once more, so all who remain in old parts shall know it in truth as well. It is Butterbooch who emerges as the clear winner by unanimous acclamation. His own statement, Breen is not an entity, is quoted throughout news feeds nationwide and beyond as it reaches out to humankind beyond Mars, seeking guidance from our new leaders without borders beyond this event. We will have to discuss what lies beneath those images. Buttergood remained defiant at the center with Butterbeach beside. His only remark was that you would ever think otherwise. It means much of you. Let's hope your views will remain as positive as it may, yet reach beyond here. Yet there were already whisperings at a higher level, the real truth behind their motives. So Butterball's statements remain just words, and while their supporters rallied them onward, the great shadow still seemed to be looming nearby, casting its shade within reach. The true victor stood unseen, and none dared look into its depth nor seek within, for even as they stepped up for justice against him, no sign could ever truly exist that justice existed here except that Bray spoke of a force greater even than itself alone. That Butterboy had become nothing more than an insect buzzing around his ears while waiting in vain hope for whatever lay just ahead, yet even Butterbeer did say he couldn't care a single lick what they truly knew. And this, I think, not true. Perhaps in another hour we shall see a more positive conclusion than what remains before. But in these moments it remains uncertain if they would dare speak of such matters themselves beyond mere words. Trevor Goodchild, having shooed off from his dressing room, all but his own vanity documentary crew. Butterbean! No! Stay here! I have something to say! Butterbean turns to him. Trevor. They stare down at one another, and then without utterance they both grab one another violently, Trevor on top trying to choke, Butterball grabbing back. They struggle against each other's force. Breaking news. We have footage on screen and audio recording available for download for everyone worldwide within moments. A shocking ending which left fans everywhere asking 1,000,000,000,000,000 questions, and yes, of Butterbee. The Blimeys were seen leaving the building together without word as to who spoke or did otherwise. And speculation ramped up throughout the media with every new revelation uncovered about what might have been true before. It also became public knowledge just then that they weren't even of this or another known human/humanish planet or race. As for the other debating members who remained behind the scenes before this evening, nothing new has emerged since. Only an update that Butterball will hold press conference on top of Marty regarding these recent developments. Please check social media platforms or stay logged on at all times and without interference. News item. The elections are now down to the final two, Goodchild and Butterbean. Who knows how this will all play out and where we could be led towards. But if you have followed our news team, this was no accident. Butterbean had always shown potential to disrupt any given narrative. Now only he had left. In any moment, he may become a power to challenge or resist any movement that came against. The only problem for both, and we had no idea at this moment of any actual reason beyond his actions, or perhaps his mere desire for a true fight without anything at his side beyond a lone candle burning bright. Trevor hires another volley of private investigators. Here is the one called Butterbean. Tell me everything. Leave no stone unbolt. Butterball refuses. His face never changed since it happened all that night long after we all watched on. The investigation was short-lived once. We knew that there really had no evidence whatsoever. Still, he would speak no mind. So Trevor took no rest as though they needed such a thing as evidence. Who cares? It didn't matter here. But Trevor had never shown such strength for such actions in their previous endeavors without success elsewhere beyond mere whispers before or behind anyone else here. The debate remained in progress while they waited upon them both still on live feed without further action except occasional tweet or comment stream, etc. But Trevor did seem restless still at that moment, with Bree watching nearby but without remark. And yet the cameras remained rolling, as if to show every action done in their presence beyond them. No matter what had taken place already, we were ready now, with everyone ready again, with everything on board. So this may not come to full stop yet unless we all just decided that none other should make our decision. So for once, all seemed at relative peace despite any potential issues elsewhere that threatened to interrupt it. Butter did have something hidden away from here. They were not without tricks, and without further argument. Yet I had seen many others before tonight. Butter both stood beside the rest before them as he gazed off silently at some horizon without a shadow across. He never responded or answered even a breath to anyone else beyond us, though I still cannot truly know how close they remained together. In silence there must always a word. In soundness, no silence without words. But then this was something to consider in truth without pause from one or other alone.
Okay, another episode coming up in a little bit. I'm just gonna take a little break to stretch my legs because I'm in a stress position just narrating this.